produced and funded by WDEV and the Radio Vermont Group. We welcome listener feedback. Email your comments to WDEV@radiovermont.com.
The energy.
So the barber trims my beard all nice, like an artist. Now, I didn't tell him to do that. I wanted the beard gone. So then I went home and shaved it off completely after I was done. I felt horrible.
The passion.
Rafael Devers is the biggest contract in franchise history. He needs to be a leader for this Red Sox team.
The opinions on all of your favorite teams.
Are the Patriots close to playoff contention? Yes. Are they close to Super Bowl contention? Hell no.
This is the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
What's up, everybody? A happy holiday Monday to you here on the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM and FM and WDEVradio.com. We are brought to you by Fecto Homes. They are your home solution. They are in Montpelier. You can look at the banner right behind me if you're watching on video. You can watch us on video every day on Facebook Live and YouTube Live as well. Just go to WDEV's Facebook page. That is the easiest place to find our show video streaming every day. You can also get in on the text line, 802-585-3026. It's 802-585-3026. I do this every holiday. I'm taking attendance today. I want to know who is out there, right? Like, I get it. It's a beautiful day. A lot of you are off work. Barbecues, beer, baseball, parades. There's a lot of things going on today. If you're out there, I want to know it, and then we can all drive the conversation together. Because it's a holiday, I reserve the right to do some different and zany things today. We got plenty of Celtics Heat Game 7 talk, plenty of recap of Game 6. Do not worry about that. If you're looking for Celtics content with Game 7 tonight, we've got it for you. We got some stuff on the Red Sox. Nick Mumley, our Thunder Road racing analyst, is going to stop by at about 6:30, talk about the Memorial Day Classic from yesterday. So a lot of you, I'm sure, were at the Nation side of excitement. Really good multi-division day going on yesterday. And I was in Cooperstown on Saturday for the Baseball Hall of Fame Classic. I spoke to a bunch of ex-big leaguers for 90 seconds a pop. You're gonna hear parts of all of my conversations, including with several former Red Sox. So we're going to do that for you at about 6:05 as well. But plenty to get to. Again, 802-585-3026. I know Kevin is out there. I know Phil in Middlesex is here. Peter in Williston is here as well. So a lot of the usual crew, if you're getting in, again, 802-585-3026. Lego. The opening thoughts in the Brady Farkas Show are brought to you by Sticks and Stuff and by Swanton Lumber, Vermont's most complete locally owned home center with locations in Enosburg, Derby, Middlesex, St. Albans, now also in Rouse's Point, New York, and online at sticksandstuff.com, as well as at Swanton Lumber. That play on Saturday night, Derek White, 0.1 seconds left, and he gets it out of his hand. Ball goes in at the buzzer. That is one of the more incredible plays I have ever seen in my life. And it's not just because it was a buzzer beater, right? Like, we've seen buzzer beaters before. I've seen Kawhi Leonard in the playoffs for Toronto a couple years ago against the Sixers. I've seen Kyrie near the buzzer for the Cavs against the Warriors to win them a title. I've seen walk-off home runs. I've seen game-winning touchdowns. I've seen buzzer beaters. I've seen things in March Madness. I've seen 16 seeds beat 1 seeds. You have seen a lot of great sports finishes, a lot of thrilling finishes. That play on Saturday night was one of the more incredible plays I've ever seen in my life. And the reason why was this. Derek White's basketball IQ on that play is just startling how good it is. If you watch that play, there's 3 seconds left. Derek White is the inbounder, right? He is the guy throwing the inbounds pass. Derek White gets the ball in to Marcus Smart. Then Marcus Smart has it. Derek White fans out to the corner where he is now waiting for a pass from Smart so he can take a shot. That's one of the options on this play. So he gets the ball in. That's the first job. Then He doesn't just get the ball in and kind of wait there for the play to develop. He immediately beelines it to the corner where he's open for a shot. And then when it's clear that he's not getting that shot and Smart has taken it, he makes his way all the way to the basket to be in position for that rebound. I cannot tell you. Look, I have played basketball a lot in my life, from youth league games to high school games to pickup games to men's league games. It doesn't matter. I've played a lot of basketball. I've thrown the inbounds pass a lot. Usually, when the inbounds pass gets thrown, you just kind of hang out there. And you kind of assume that it's going to be 4-on-4, right? The inbound passer is going to be out of the play, and the guy guarding the inbound pass is going to be out of the play, and it's going to be 4-on-4 with everybody else on the court. Not for Derek White, not on Saturday night. That is an incredible play of basketball IQ. And I've always thought that Derek Smart was a heady player, was a smart player, was a good player, was a useful player. That is an all-timer. Like, if you are a coach in the state of Vermont, that's a play you'll show your team forever, just in terms of being heady and in terms of stick-to-itness. Like, I can't get, like, the basketball nerd in me cannot get over how good a play that was. It's a great ending because I'm a Celtics fan, and it's a great ending because I'm sharing Celtic conversation with you, and we're in this race together. It is a great ending. But how we got to that ending, that is next level. Derek White gets the ball in. That's stressful. Trust me. Taking the ball out of bounds with the game on the line is stressful. The pass has to be perfect. It can't get stolen. You can't get a 5-second call. It's got to be perfect. So he gets the ball in. He fans to the corner. He waits for the shot. He recognizes he's not going to get the shot. And then he goes in and gets the ball. And Derek White is among the smallest people on the floor, but he put himself in position to have the biggest impact. The basketball nerd in me, the coach in me, the former player in me is in awe of how good that play is. I mean, obviously the Celtics don't win this series, or don't get to win this series maybe, without Derek White. The shooting performance that he had in game 5, the play in game 6, he has been great here down the stretch of this series. And that is an all-time great play. And as a result of that play, I believe the Celtics are going to make history. The Boston Celtics, in my mind, are going to make history tonight. They are going to be the first team ever in NBA history to come back from 0-3 down and win the series. And this will go down as a collapse by the Heat. This will go down as a comeback literally for the ages for the Celtics. And it will be one of the greatest achievements in NBA history. And Derek White has put the Celtics in a position, he's one of many people now, to put the Celtics in a position to make that possible. I can't wait for Game 7. I hope you're as jacked up for it as I am. 8:30 tonight at the Garden. The Celtics have this game at home. They're going to get this done. I don't think there's any way Miami can win. I mean, I can conceive a way Miami can win, but I don't think mentally Miami will do it. Duncan Robinson is still thinking about those 2 wide open threes he had at the end of the game. And kudos to Derek White because he picked up the Celtics. Jaylen Brown was bad at the end of the game. Jason Tatum was bad at the end of the game. Of course, they did good things throughout, but they were bad at the end. The Celtics tried to squander that game. They had a double-digit lead, I believe, in the fourth quarter and tried to squander that game, and Derek White picked them up off the canvas. And because of that play, the Celtics are going to pull off history today. And it is incredible to think about that. It is incredible to think about that. That play by Derek White is the epitome of a team basketball play, of a smart basketball play. You know what wasn't smart, though? I don't like to be a guy who goes in on the officiating. You know this during football season. I will always say that one call does not cost a team a game, and I fully believe that. Trust me. But the officials are very, very lucky that the Celtics won that game. Did you follow this? I don't make a big deal a lot of times about the 2-minute report in the NBA, but did you follow what happened the other day? Let me take you through this, because when the Celtics got the final shot off, a lot of people were wondering, well, why did the Celtics have 3 seconds left? A lot of people thought that the Heat got gypped, that there should have been less than 3 seconds left. Well, actually, the Celtics got gypped, and the officials are lucky the Celtics ended up winning. So let me take you through this play, right? The Celtics are up 102 to 100 with a few seconds left, right? Remember, this is the play where Jimmy Butler gets fouled by Al Horford and gets the 3 free throws, makes them all, and the Heat go up 103 to 102. This is regarding that play. So Butler gets fouled by Horford. Butler gets given 3 shots. When the official calls the foul on Horford, there's 2.1 seconds left on the clock. Okay, there's 2.1. So a lot of Heat fans are like, how did we go from 2.1 to 3? That's sketchy. Here is what happened. And here is where the officials or the rule or something is really screwed up. So official calls a foul, 2.1 seconds left. Jimmy Butler gets 3 free throws. Joe Mazzulla challenges the call. Okay, he challenges the call. And the result of the challenge is not that there's no foul, right? Like, we're all hoping to hear it's not a foul, or we're all hoping to see that it's a 2-shot foul and not 3. Well, the result of the challenge is the officials actually go back and they say, you know what? The foul on Horford occurred earlier than we thought. So not only are we challenging all the things you think we're challenging, but the officials go back and say, you know what? The foul actually occurred earlier. So that's where the 3 seconds comes in. The officials say the original foul, the foul that should have been called, happened at 3 seconds. But that foul at 3 seconds was not Jimmy Butler behind the 3-point line. It should have been a two-shot foul. So something here is wrong. Either, like, it can't go both ways. Either the foul on the floor stands and there's 2.1 seconds left, in which case the Celtics would have been unlucky, or we're going back and we're saying, okay, the foul that should have been called was first, and it was 3 seconds, and there's no shot, or there's only a 2-shot foul there, and we'd be in a position to be tied at 102. It can't go both ways. It can't go both ways. Instead, the Celtics got the benefit of the extra time on the clock, but got the wrong outcome on the foul. It's very confusing. And I hope that I've conveyed it properly, but something in this process is not right. If the original foul is being called at 3 seconds, then Jimmy Butler should have only gotten 2 shots. If the foul that gave him 3 shots is being called, then there should have been 2.1. So the Celtics were kind of given 1 half good and 1 half evil in either, but just the officials are lucky that the Celtics ended up winning this game. The Celtics are lucky here that they ended up winning this game. Scott in East Montpelier is listening, and he says, I'm glad you're on. He messages me on Twitter. Thank you very much, Scott. So Celtics, Heat, your predictions, your thoughts, your hopes for tonight, the things you want to see. I think the Celtics are going to win this game. I think they're going to win it by 12. I think they're going to get a double-digit victory today. I think they're going to win 113 to 101. And I think it will be close early. I think Miami will be in it early. But I think the Celtics are finally going to put it together again in the second half. We haven't seen it very much. They did it in game 5, where they came out in the game 4, where they came out in the third quarter. We haven't seen it much, but I think they're going to play well in the second half. And they're going to win this game 113 to 101. That's my prediction. We'll see history. I hope the 04 Red Sox are in attendance. I hope the Red Sox Twitter account is live tweeting the game. This needs to be a collective effort from all of New England. I hope that everybody's as jacked up as I am, because the Celtics are making history today. It's the Brady Farkas Show, brought to you by Fecto Homes on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. A lot of you, in fact, I'm positive that almost none of you have been following the story I'm going to tell you next. A former Patriots quarterback might have a new job. And I'm going to tell you the drama that surrounds it. We'll talk about it next during the Brady Farkas Show on DEV.
The States Deputy Sheriff's Association is a national nonprofit and America's largest non-governmental provider of services to law enforcement. USDSA assists city, county, state, and federal law enforcement agencies through our many varied programs, including free safety equipment donations, free officer survival training, cash donations, and condolence letters to the family of law enforcement officers who perish in the line of duty. USDSA also offers college scholarships for the dependent children of law enforcement, along with the Citizen Awareness Program and thank you cards to law enforcement. These are just some of the ways United States Deputy Sheriff's Association assists America's law enforcement and the citizens they serve. For more information about United States Deputy Sheriff's Association or to see how you can help, visit www.usdeputy.org. United States Deputy Sheriff's Association, taking training to the next level because lives are on the line.
Hi, folks. First off, we want to personally thank our customers and congratulate our team for reaching and exceeding our goal in the car, truck, and SUV challenge. Right, kid? That's right. With a record start of the year here at Lemoyne Valley Ford, I've got some exciting news to share with you. During the first part of the year, Ford leasing deals have improved dramatically. With new Ford incentives just announced, they just got even better. I want you to know at Lemoyne Valley Ford, it's a great time for you to lease for less. Listen to this. With $3,900 cash or trade down plus fees, returning lessees can get a low mileage 2-year lease on a brand new 2023 F-150 STX Super Cab for just $399 per month. And folks, our inventory of new Fords is absolutely massive. I just counted 14 new Explorers, 32 Bronco and Bronco Sports, and over 160 new Ford trucks in stock and on the way. Our team is ready to do whatever it takes to earn your business at Lemoyne Valley Ford. Woo! So drive Route 14, 15, or 16 to Hardwick, Vermont, and lease for less at Lemoyne Valley Ford, and spread the word, folks. At Lemoyne Valley Ford, we know price matters.
The WDEV studio is sponsored by Sticks and Stuff and Swanton Lumber, Vermont's largest independent home center, powered by Marvin Doors and Windows. Go to sticksandstuff.com for store locations and hours.
The world is a constantly changing place, and being informed has never been more important. This is Steve Kaith at WDEV, Vermont's news station, and CBS provide you with up-to-the-minute news and information. Whether it's top and bottom of the hour news, breaking news, or special events, if Vermonters need to know, you can trust that WDEV and CBS will inform you. WDEV, keeping an eye on Vermont, while CBS keeps an eye on the world.
Your chance to be part of the show is on the text line at 802-585-3026.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Welcome back in, Brady Farkas Show, brought to you by Fecto Homes here on WDEV. Will in Plattsburgh checks in on the text line and says, I think the Celtics win it 98-87. So he's got them winning by 11. I've got them winning by 12. I don't think it's going to be that low scoring. It could be. Like, again, I can conceive where the Celtics come out, they're clamped down, they're focused, they're playing really hard, they make life really tough for Miami and only allow them to 87 points. I can see that. But I think the Celtics are going to score more. I think the Celtics are going to score more than 98. And I think as a result of them scoring more, the Heat might get some garbage time buckets to get up their point total. I'll say again, 113-101. Will says, I also can't believe the Red Sox aren't playing on Memorial Day. We've covered this. It's a complete travesty. I mean, it's a complete joke that the Red Sox aren't playing here on Memorial Day. There's 8 teams not playing on Memorial Day, and how baseball messed this up so bad to not showcase the sport on the unofficial start to summer is beyond me, but evidently they didn't. Peter says, I think the Celtics will win it. It will be a close game at half, but the Celtics are going to win by more than 20. He's got it 118-97. I think that is more likely than 98-87. I think what Peter said is more likely. I'm going to go with 113 to 101. Texter says Memorial Day without baseball is criminal. Agree. I mean, it's completely wrong. Completely wrong. I want to tell you this story. And I would imagine that most of you are not following this. You may have seen this nationally. This is actually a story from my home area in Albany that is just a complete circus. And I just have to tell you about it. Former Patriots quarterback Cam Newton might have a new job as the quarterback of the Albany Empire in one form of arena football. I couldn't even tell you what it is. I think it's called the National Arena League. So recognize that. That's our connection to New England. Cam Newton might play football for the Albany Empire. Put that in a bucket, and let me tell you how we got here. Okay, this is an absolute circus, and I feel bad for the people of my hometown. Okay, for the people of my home city. So a long time ago, when I was growing up, right, we're talking 25 years ago plus, 25 years ago plus, there was an arena football team named the Albany Firebirds, and they were very good, right? It was a good league. They were good in it. I believe they won a title or two. Don't quote me on that. But they had a player by the name of Eddie Brown. They called him Touchdown Eddie Brown, and he was really, really good. That's Antonio Brown's father, okay? Antonio Brown, he of the Steelers, he of the Patriots, he of the Bucks, he of the Raiders, he of the take my shirt off and quit at halftime. Like, that's Antonio Brown's dad. So the Albany Empire folded or relocated. And a couple of years later, Albany got a new arena football team in a different arena league, and it was called the Albany Conquest. And I didn't really go to these games. I went to a Firebirds game here. I went to a Conquest game there. But nothing, I wasn't a fan. But they were pillars of the community. So then Albany goes without arena football because whatever happened to the Conquest happened. They're gone now. And then I would say a couple of years ago, before COVID, a new arena football team came in, and they were called the Albany Empire. And Albany actually really embraced this team. And I never really got why. I wasn't living there, so it didn't really matter to me. But Albany really embraced this team. And they've made it, a big downtown thing. And game days became a big thing. It was a festival-like atmosphere. And they were doing really well. And I believe that Albany won 2 titles with the Empire. And I knew plenty of guys who worked for the team, actually. My old radio partner became the media relations director at the Empire and quit radio to do that. So people were really in on this. Let's fast forward now to where we are this season. Albany has won, I believe, 2 consecutive titles in this league, or at least gotten to the league Super Bowl 2 years in a row. Antonio Brown and his father, Touchdown Eddie Brown of the Albany Firebirds, bought into the team. They became partial owners of the team. Antonio Brown wasn't playing in the NFL. His father played in Albany, loved the community. Antonio Brown, I believe, spent a little bit of time there growing up, going to games. So they bought into the community and bought into the team. And since then, it has been a complete disaster and complete hell. As you can imagine, right? The circus follows Antonio Brown. Right? It doesn't matter what Antonio Brown is doing, something bad follows. I do not like Antonio Brown. I never have. I didn't like that the Patriots got him. He's got the very serious rape allegations, berating the mother of his kids on Instagram videos, stiffing people out of payment. Antonio Brown is not seen as a good guy. So instantly when he bought into this team in my hometown, my antennas were raised up. I'm kind of following it from afar. So here's what's happened. The coach who won those 2 titles either was let go or left. Okay, so they get another coach. And then it comes out that Antonio Brown is not paying the players. Antonio Brown is not paying the players. So the players actually agreed to play a game without being paid on the condition that they'd be paid later. and they hadn't been paid yet. And so Antonio Brown locked them out of their hotel rooms. And then so those guys finally got paid, but a bunch of guys quit the team. And then the new coach quit. So they brought back the old coach, the first coach, and then he left again after one game. And then the team is so bad. The team is bad because these guys have left. The coaches left. They're on like their fourth or fifth coach now in the same season. Antonio Brown is continuing to not be great in the community. He now owns like 95% of the team because one of the original owners was like, I can't deal with this, so I'm out. I'll sell you my half. So now Antonio Brown and his father own like 95% of the team and have nearly unilateral control. Well, the family, just an innocent family, owns 5% of the team. Antonio Brown won't call these people, apparently. That's the story in the local paper. Then dinner got bought for the team by a place, a food place, just an average restaurant. Antonio Brown stiffed him on payment. Didn't pay the mom and pop pizza place for the post-game meal or whatever. Then finally he eventually did, but it took a while, and it's absurd that Antonio Brown wouldn't pay the local food place. So now the team is bad, the team is hurting for revenue, and Antonio Brown says, I am going to play for the Albany Empire. You might have seen this on ESPN. Okay? Antonio Brown said recently, I am going to play for the Albany Empire. Antonio Brown last week practiced. The game was on Saturday of this weekend in Albany, and Antonio Brown did not play. So they did sell tickets. There were people that wanted to go and see him. He did not play. He says it's because the league wouldn't approve his physical. The commissioner of the league says that's not true. And by the way, you're the owner. You can override me on this if you wanted to anyways. Antonio Brown didn't play. He says he'll definitely play in the next one, which of course he won't. I read a story from somebody who used to work for the team that said Antonio Brown didn't even pay for his jersey, so there was never a chance he was going to play. And where I get to now is Antonio Brown says, not only am I going to play in the next one, I'm going to get Cam Newton to play in the next one too, because Cam's my friend, and I'm going to double down, and you're going to see that we can do this thing. And Antonio Brown has said he will pay Cam Newton $150,000 to play one game with the Albany Empire. I like Cam. I do. I don't agree with everything Cam says, but generally I like Cam. And I loved him with the Patriots, and you know this. I hope that Cam does not do this. I don't know that Antonio Brown will actually play. I don't know that Antonio Brown would actually pay Cam what he says he's going to pay. This thing is a circus. Now, Antonio Brown has ruined the franchise, has ruined its credibility in Albany, and now the team is at the end of its arena lease, so I could see the arena not welcoming them back. I could see the arena kicking them out. I could see the team relocating. I could see the team folding. I don't care. I don't live there, and even when I did live there, I didn't really go to these games. But it just shows you that there is a stench that follows Antonio Brown everywhere he goes. Texter says, AB is a bad dude, no doubt there. It's disgusting and pathetic how much he's managed to get away with given his past transgressions here, there, and everywhere. Very true. That simple. Antonio Brown, because of his talent, has been enabled a lot in his life, obviously, at least in his professional career. But I mean, this is sad for the people of Albany who actually do like this team and did go. This is sad for the players on that team who this is their livelihood, who they care about it, and they're being railroaded. By the way, after the original coach who came back got let go again, they brought in a high school coach to coach this team because he also used to play for the Firebirds, and he got fired after 1 week, and now they're going to be on their fifth coach in like 8 games or something. Texter says the citizens of Albany don't deserve this circus. Nobody deserves this circus. I mean, 5 coaches in 8 weeks, not paying your players, locking them out of the hotel room, telling people you're going to play, selling the tickets, and then not. Losing like half your organization's support staff because they don't want to be with you anymore. The team might fold. The team might relocate. The team might be kicked out of its building all because of you. Nobody deserves this. It's an embarrassment. And I feel bad for the people in my hometown. My weekend in Cooperstown and my conversations with former big leaguers. You'll hear about it next on DEV.
96.1 FM Warren, 96.5 W243 AT Barry, 98.3 W252 CN Montclair, AM 550 WDEV.
This is CBS News on the Hour, presented by Indeed.com.
I'm Wendy Gillette in New York. On this Memorial Day, President Biden laid a wreath at Arlington National Cemetery. He said every year it never gets easier.
Today, we once again gather in this sacred place at this solemn hour to honor fallen heroes.
WCBS TV's Elijah Westbrook reports on a ceremony in New York City.
Means a whole lot.
Hundreds of veterans like Vinny Bokikio flocked to the USS Intrepid to honor those who lost their lives to protect our nation.
I lost a lot of friends of mine in Vietnam. You gotta remember them.
The ceremony began with current service members and veterans speaking about the significance of Memorial Day, followed by the laying of 4 ceremonial wreaths.
We must think of patriotism, not something that is reflected on Memorial Day, but it must be built in the fiber of our country.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky posted a Memorial Day message.
On behalf of all Ukrainians, I would like to honor the courage and self-sacrifice of all Americans who stood in defense and keep defending the freedom.
The House is set to vote on a bill Wednesday that will raise the nation's debt ceiling, avoiding a first-ever government default. CBS's Natalie Brand.
With a debt ceiling deal in place, the next hurdle for House Speaker Kevin McCarthy remains shoring up support.
It's not 100% of what everybody wants, but when you look, the country is going to be stronger.
President Biden expressed confidence it will reach his desk.
Feel very good about it.
The bill would lift the debt ceiling for the next 2 years. It would keep non-defense spending at roughly the same levels through 2024, but would prevent cuts to Social Security and Medicare, as well as the military and veterans programs.
Firefighters risked their own safety to rescue those trapped in a partially collapsed building in Davenport, Iowa. Mayor Mike Mattson.
Because of the response and because of the concern for life by our first responders to get in the building knowing that that building was unsafe to help folks, I can't stress how, because of that, they saved lives.
25 NATO-led peacekeeping troops were injured in clashes with ethnic Serbs in northern Kosovo. Force says the Serbs were trying to take over offices where ethnic Albanian mayors started serving last week. The Coast Guard searching for 4 missing people after a chartered vessel with 5 aboard was found partially submerged underwater near Sitka, Alaska. This is CBS News.
Hiring's a lot easier with Indeed. Their powerful platform makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates all in the same place. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
I can't wait for what's next. Even with higher stroke risk due to atrial fibrillation, irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Eliquis, the Bixaban tablets, reduces stroke risk. It's the #1 cardiologist prescribed blood thinner.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without talking to your doctor, as this may increase your risk of stroke. Eliquis can cause serious and, in rare cases, fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or have antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or unusual bruising, or if you have tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. It may increase your bleeding risk if you take medicines such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
A hit TV show comes to an end. Succession aired its 90-minute series finale last night after 4 seasons on HBO. Now, I won't give any spoilers, but the show was trending #1 on Twitter last night, with fans sharing all kinds of reactions and memes as we learned who finally took over the Roy family's entertainment empire. The Emmy-winning show was even part of the debt discussions last night in Washington when a deal was reached just hours before the finale aired. A White House official ended a call with reporters telling them to enjoy Succession. Monica Ricks, CBS News. The Boston Celtics will try to make history tonight, coming from a 3-0 deficit to win a best-of-7 series. The team takes on the Miami Heat in Boston for Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals. The Celtics are the 4th NBA team to come back from being 3 games down to force a Game 7. The NBA Finals start Thursday. Wendy Gillette, CBS News.
Make your opinion heard by texting onto the Brady Farkas Show at 802-585-3020.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Oh, yes, we are just 2.5 hours away from Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Winner goes to the NBA Finals. Celtics trying to get there for the second consecutive year. We will, of course, have more C's coverage for you here in this 6 o'clock hour. Nick Mumley, our Thunder Road racing expert and broadcaster, will be with us at about 6:30. So, yes, all of you who want me to talk racing, we are talking racing today. The Memorial Day Classic from yesterday, we got that as well. Great job by everybody at Thunder Road yesterday. I saw a lot of pictures of it. It looked like it was a lot of fun. I want to go here. I spent my Saturday in my absolute favorite place in the world, Cooperstown, New York. I love Cooperstown. Look, I've been a lot of cool places. I've been to a lot of cool events. I've seen a lot of cool things. I've lived in great areas. No place makes me happier than Cooperstown, New York. If you have not been, you need to go. It's quiet. It's quaint. It's baseball all the time. There, to me, is nothing better than that. You drive in to Cooperstown and boom, there is pristine water on the lake. I love being near water. There is a quaint, quiet Main Street. I love that. Very New England-y, even though it's in the heart of New York. And then it's baseball all the time. From the shops to the gift shops, the souvenirs, the hat stores, the collectible shops, the wax museum, the Hall of Fame itself. I love Cooperstown. So I spent Saturday there for the Baseball Hall of Fame Classic and the festivities. And a lot of you, I would imagine, don't even know what this is. So for a long time, there was what was called the Hall of Fame game. And two teams would go to Cooperstown and they would play a game, not a regular season game, but they would play a game at Doubleday Field. And it was generally treated like a spring training game, right? The stars would get an at-bat or play an inning, and then it would be a largely minor league fest. But you got to say, hey, I saw two teams play, and there was Ken Griffey Jr., there was Larry Walker, there was whoever. And it was cool, and that was that. So several years ago, about 8 to 10 years ago, the Hall of Fame came up with a new idea. They got rid of the Hall of Fame game, and they came up with the idea of the Hall of Fame Classic. And what the Hall of Fame Classic is each team sends a representative. Each major league team sends a representative. And it's a recently retired big leaguer that still has some game left. And these guys get together and they sign autographs and they have a home run derby and then they play a game and it's fun to see. Right? It's a lot of names that you know. It's not always superstars, but it's guys who are personable, guys who will represent their organizations well, guys that are young enough to still have some game left that want to actually play. And it's a lot of fun. So in about 2014, I was coaching baseball at Hudson Valley Community College, and somehow our school got the exclusivity to be the helpers at the Hall of Fame Classic. So even though I was a coach, I was a bullpen catcher at the Hall of Fame Classic our first year. And then 3 or 4 players came with us. This is a junior college, so our sophomore leaders came with us and acted also as bullpen catchers and, just anything you needed for help. And it was amazing. We had lunch before it. I remember sitting, I remember talking with Jack Wilson of the Pirates. I remember Aaron Rowand representing the White Sox there. I remember playing catch with Todd Jones, the old closer for the Tigers. I played catch with J.J. Putz and Dan Wheeler, the old closer for the Rays. And I remember catching Steve Avery in the bullpen. And, I'm in the locker room with Eddie Guardado who was representing the Mariners, but also played for the Twins. And we ride over on a trolley, and I'm sitting next to Jim Thome and Reggie Sanders. And I sat next to Hideki Matsui, and I played catch with Alfonso Soriano and Jock Jones, who was representing the Twins one year. So I did that for 2 years while I was at Hudson Valley Community College. Well, then obviously I moved here. I stopped coaching, and I haven't been back in the last 6 years or so. So I went back on Saturday, and I got there really early, and I got there for the media availability because I've something I've never done before, right? I had worked the event as a helper and bullpen catcher, but I'd never been a media member at this thing. So I went, and it was at 11:15 at Doubleday Field, and all the players are there, and they're throwing and stretching and taking BP, and around all of that, there's me hanging out at the cage talking with all these guys. And there's supposed to be 30 players there, one representing every team. I bet you there wasn't every team representative, but there was probably 26, 28 guys. There are a few teams that were missing. And I started to think, okay, what is my plan of attack going to be? Who am I going to talk to? What do I want to talk about? So I elected to go for a twofold approach. One, for work, I wanted to talk to all the guys there that had former Red Sox ties. If there were guys who played for the Red Sox, even if for a cup of coffee, I wanted to talk with them. And then for my own fandom, I wanted to find all the guys that had Seattle Mariners ties. Okay, if they played for the Mariners, I wanted to talk with them. And that's exactly what I did. And you're going to hear those conversations in a second. I've got conversations here with 3 former Red Sox and 4 former Mariners. They're all short. They're between 45 seconds and 2 minutes. So they're all short, 1, 2, 3, 4 questions each. All the guys were great. And it was a lot of fun. I love Cooperstown. I love the idea of the event. I love that I got to go to the event. I love that I did something different, was a media guy at the event. And I love the access the Hall of Fame gave. I love the access that the players gave. They didn't have to, be as generous with their time, but they were. So I'll start off with the former Red Sox. The first guy I spoke to was Ryan Lavarnway. This is a name that you probably remember, right? He was a catcher, and he was an infielder, and he played for the Red Sox for part of 4 seasons. Came up in 2011, was there in 11, 12, 13, and 14. Then he went on to Baltimore and Atlanta. Then he went on to Oakland, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Miami, and Cleveland. So after the Red Sox, he was basically a team a season. He also just played. He hasn't played in the majors since 2021. He just played this year in the World Baseball Classic representing Israel. So the first guy I spoke with was Ryan Lavarnway.
What inspired you to come out and play here today? I got a call from the Red Sox. I didn't know this game was here, and I'm really excited about it. Talk about an alumni game. This is pretty cool.
What was it like for you to play in the World Baseball Classic again this year, represent Israel?
That's something I've been looking forward to since 2017. That first experience in the WBC really changed my life and my perspective. So it's definitely something that's been on my radar ever since.
What's the overall environment like at the WBC?
It's more than just baseball. It feels like MLB playoffs or even more intense if that's possible. Playing for your country, playing for your people. I can't speak highly enough of the WBC.
You were up and down a bit in 2013 with the Red Sox, but that year obviously is very, very special in Red Sox history. What was the vibe like when you got there? You got there to stay at the end of the season. What was the 13 Red Sox like?
In 2013, we talked about what we wanted to do from day one. We had lost 97 games the year before. We were on our 3rd manager in as many years because we had been so bad. But we had a couple new key personalities that made us all kind of feel like, why not us and why not right now? So we talked about winning the World Series from day one of spring training, and that was our goal. And then when the bombings happened, we really gelled even more as a team and around the city. And we knew how important it was that we gave people a distraction and something to be happy about. So we played for something that was bigger than us.
We got you and Middlebrook joining the Nesson broadcast.
Yeah.
When are we going to get you on there now? Every other former Red Sox is involved, so when are you going to get on TV?
I've been doing some broadcasts with the Rockies
have you?
because I live in Denver. I just retired 2 months ago. But I would love to come join Nesson, even if it's just for a couple of guest opportunities now and then. But I'm really enjoying the broadcasting with the Rockies, and Will is a good friend of mine, and Uke was with me in the WBC. So
that was my talk with former Red Sox player Ryan Lavarnway at the Hall of Fame Classic. He was great talking about the 2013 Red Sox. And again, he was up and down that year with the Red Sox, but he did get there kind of for good at the end of the regular season. He played 46 games, or 25 games with the 2013 Red Sox. And look, hit 299 that year. And hey, small sample size, but did hit 299. So a valuable member of what turned out to be a championship team. Another Red Sox player who was a valuable member of a championship team was Pokey Reese. You'll remember Pokey Reese. He was in slick fielding shortstop, a slick fielding infielder. He came up with the Cincinnati Reds and I believe was a pretty well-regarded prospect. He played for the Reds from 97, 98, 99, 2000, and 2001. Then he went to Pittsburgh and played for the Pirates, stayed there for 2 years. He spent 96 games with the 2004 Red Sox, played in the World Series, helped the Red Sox break the curse, helped the Red Sox come back from 0-3 down against the Yankees in that ALCS. He played in all three of those rounds. He played against the Angels in the division round, the Yankees in the ALCS, and the Cardinals there in the World Series. Played sparingly, but he was part of the team. He's on the roster. He got a ring. This was the shortest conversation that I had, but Pokey was still a great guy.
New England about the Celtics trying to come back from 3-0 down here to beat Miami in the NBA. You're part of the 04 Red Sox. What do you remember about that team, that group, that time?
Just like Smart said, just win the day. And the rest will take care of itself. So they got a good chance to come back. So, I mean, hopefully they get it done.
Overall, being part of the 04 Red Sox, breaking the curse, what does that mean to you?
It's big. I mean, it's one of the highs of my career. It is the high of my career. So getting on that team, being a part of that organization and those guys that were on that team, it was big.
I'm a big Mariners fan. I got to ask you, playing with the Reds, what was it like playing with Griffey when he first came over?
It was awesome. He was coming home. You know, he wanted to be there.
Yeah.
We didn't win, but it was just nice having a great Hall of Famer on the team, another Hall of Famer.
If you've ever wondered what Super Bowl Media Week is like, this is what it's like. When I've gone to Super Bowl Media Week in the past, right, I've been to, it used to be called Super Bowl, it used to be called Media Night or Media Day. Now it's called Super Bowl Opening Night. It's when all the players come out, and that's where Marshawn Lynch goes, I'm just here so I don't get fined and all that. It's kind of this scrum style where you get a minute or two with everybody. You know, you're never going to get 10 minutes with one guy, kind of get 1 or 2 minutes with a bunch of different people. That's exactly what this was like over the weekend, and it was a lot of fun. My last Red Sox tie for the day was I spoke to Josh Reddick. This is a name you'll remember, probably most prominent with the Houston Astros. He was there with the 2017 Astros, helped them win that World Series championship in 2017, that 17 team that beat the Red Sox in the American League Division Series that year. He was with the Astros from 2017 to 2020, but he came up with the Red Sox. He was there for part of 2009, part of 2010, part of 2011. Eventually he goes to Oakland. That's where he gets his first big everyday break from 2012 to 2015. Spent a little time, 2012 to 2016, a little bit of time with the Dodgers. He ended up with the Diamondbacks. He's still only 36 years old, I believe. Josh Reddick still has some game left. He evidenced that in the home run derby at the Hall of Fame Classic. He finished second in the home run derby to James Loney, the former Dodgers player. But I asked Reddick, I started out kind of asking him about his Red Sox experience, his major league debut.
Memories of coming up, making your debut with the Sox, I think in 09.
Yeah, it was a crazy day when I got my call because I was in AA. We had just traveled, I think, 8 hours on a bus overnight, and we had a game the next day. So I'm in my hotel room sleeping, and my hotel room phone rings at like 11, which I thought was pretty odd because, you know, if somebody needed me, it would be a cell phone. Yeah. And I picked up my cell phone, and I had like 10 missed calls. And then my manager was saying, hey, we need you to get your stuff and come down. It was the trade deadline, so I thought immediately I got traded. So okay, so we'll see what happens. And I go down to the lobby, wait for an hour, and we're just sitting there waiting for the phone to ring. Nothing happens. And so I'm like, all right, I'm going to go grab some breakfast. Like, okay, we'll come right back. Come back. All right, nothing. So go back to your room. Get back to my room 10 minutes later, come back down. They call me. So here's the deal. You're going to take this 3-hour car ride to Baltimore. You're going to meet the team if they need you. And if not, 2 days, you're going to come back. Okay, all right, so my whole mind's racing. I could be called up for 3 hours. I go through this crazy day, and I get to my room, and in the hotel is just a bunch of Red Sox fans, because, you know, Fenway South.
Yeah.
And so they're like, oh, Reddick's here, he's called up, and they're like shaking my hand. And I get into my room and I put my key in the door, and Theo calls me and says, "Hey, we need you to come to the ballpark." So I didn't even get in my room. I just threw my suitcase in and turned right back around. Went to the ballpark, got right there when BP started, and then I didn't play. I got a pinch hit in the ninth, and so I got my nerves out that way, and then my next day was my first start.
I think Chris Ray is here. I think he was part of your first. It wasn't your first hit, but I think it was your first multi-hit
My
game.
second career hit was off of Chris Ray, a double. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just as a general baseball fan, you spent a lot of time in Oakland. Your thoughts on what's happening with the A's and possible relocation, etc.
You know, all this hype, it's kind of hard to get behind it because being a player, you've seen so many renditions of a new ballpark for that team that it's kind of hard to believe that they will move.
Yeah.
I think it's heartbreaking for such a great city that loves their baseball, and obviously we've seen the stands; they don't fill out every day, and I think it's a tribute to the fans because they don't want to go to a game where an owner doesn't really give a crap about them. So much credit for them for that. I just feel bad for the actual diehard fans that I got to know over the years there that truly love that team regardless of what they do, and they show up every night. So I feel really bad for that fan base, and other than that, that's about it for me.
Yeah, well, that's about all that there is. Appreciated Josh Reddick's transparency there about the Oakland situation. And as we talk right now, the A's are on track to be the worst team in baseball history. I mean, you hear things like, oh, the 1899 Cleveland Spiders and all that. The A's are going to be worse than all of them. As I talk to you right now, they're 10-44. They've lost 11 games in a row. Their team ERA is like 7 at last check, practically, which was like more than a run and a half worse than the next worst team in baseball. It is embarrassing what has happened to the Oakland A's, and I appreciated Josh Reddick speaking on that. Then I went from the Red Sox ties to the Mariners ties because I had to get in my fun that way. I chatted with Brendan Ryan. Brendan Ryan was a slick fielding infielder who played for 10 years in the majors, 4 years with the Cardinals. He was actually a part of the Cardinals from 2007 to 2010. He goes to Seattle, 2011, 2012, part of 2013. He was part of Felix Hernandez's perfect game for the Mariners. He spent a couple of years with the Yankees, 2013 to 15, and ended up with the Angels. Brendan Ryan, pretty cool guy.
Size as possible. Okay. So I'm curious about your time in Seattle. It was a year and a half or so. What do you remember about your time in Seattle? What did you think of it?
I remember some really good pitching performances, getting to play behind Felix. I remember 2 perfect games, being on the wrong side of one of them on a tough call at the end there. But we got to be on the right side of the next one with Felix, and he got so close so many times that, it's even more fun when it's someone you care about and, they've gotten so close and then they pull through and then, for us to just kind of have any part of that with him is, one of my most special baseball experiences in my entire life was that game.
You play with the Cardinals, a really run team. You play with the Yankees, a really run team.
Yep.
How do the Mariners compare to those other organizations?
Well, we're kind of finding ourselves, trying to create culture and all that stuff. When I was with St. Louis and New York, I really, it was striking how similar it was in the clubhouse, on the field, in the dugout. All of that, the veterans, what they brought, the intentions of the day, just a great focus for what mattered, which was winning today,
Lastly, how do you end up representing the Yankees? I guess I think of you as more of a Cardinal, but how do you end up representing the Yankees?
That's a funny question because I might be the only guy that's ever gotten traded at this venue here because I was coming as a Cardinal.
Oh, really?
I was, yeah. And Steve and his dad, they thought it'd be cool with the Father's Day coming up and everything that they both played for St. Louis. I think they were the same number.
Yeah.
And so they asked if I would, move over to the Yankees. I was like, of course, yeah, no problem. So long as the Cardinals don't take offense to that. I have been working with them a little bit, so yeah.
So Brendan Ryan was representing the Yankees at the Hall of Fame Classic. He said he was originally going as a Cardinal, but Ed Spezio and Scott Spezio both played for the Cardinals, and they wanted a father-son connection. So Ed Spezio represented the Cardinals. He did not play, but he was there in uniform. Scott Spezio represented the Angels, but they were on the field together, both number 23. They took pictures together from the front with both their jerseys, from their back. So we had 2 different Spezios there. It was a pretty powerful moment. And Brendan Ryan said that, he was traded from the Hall of Fame Classic team from the Cardinals to the Yankees. I caught up with 2 other Mariners. I actually caught up with 3. I will play you 2 of them, though, here. Brian Fuentes is a name you will remember. Brian Fuentes was a prominent closer in the early to mid-2000s with the Colorado Rockies and then the Los Angeles Angels. He played with the Rockies, the Angels, the Twins, Oakland, and then in St. Louis. So he played with a bunch of different places, but he led all of baseball in saves in 2009 with 48 saves when he played for the Angels, and he was a 4-time All-Star as well in his career. Had some really good years for Colorado. He had a cup of coffee with the 2001 Mariners, the historic 2001 Mariners, the 116-win Mariners. He played just 10 games for that team before being dealt ultimately in the offseason to the Colorado Rockies for Jeff Cirillo, who ironically enough was actually at this game as well. So I caught up with Fuentes to ask him about the 2001 Mariners, which he spent a little bit of time with.
Like joining that team in the midst of that run? It was a little overwhelming, to be honest. It was my first time in the big leagues, and coming to a team like that with the bullpen Rhodes and Sasaki and and Ichiro and the other, like it was chaos. I mean, that was a well-oiled machine for a rookie to come into that. It was a little overwhelming. Well, as a Mariners fan, I'm trying to hope the Mariners get back to those levels consistently. What was the crowd like in Seattle at the time as you guys were going through that? It was nuts. It was always sold out. It was a fairly new stadium at the time. It was like probably 3rd or 4th year maybe. And I remember when I made my debut, it was at home, and I came in for 2/3. It was like an hour. I came in for 2/3 of an inning, and I was so nervous coming in the game, and they opened up the gate, and then I think I didn't look up, but they said, I guess my wife told me that they flashed it. It was my major league debut, and the crowd goes nuts, and I was like, holy cow, this is happening. Took my first warm-up pitch to the backstop. And then I proceeded to get the next 2 outs. But and then coming off the field, everyone stands up, gave me a standing O. I was like, wow, this is like the big leagues, right? How's the arm feel? You ready to throw today? Yeah, I'll be all right. I played catch like 3 days. So. Yeah.
Hopefully his arm held up well. I actually did not stay for the entirety of the game on Saturday because I had to get back. But it was a lot of fun to catch up with Brian Fuentes. And then finally, I got a chance to catch up with Matt Thornton, another lefty reliever who came up with the Mariners a little bit later, 2004, spent 04 and 05 there, and then ended up with a really good career with the Chicago White Sox. He ended up with the White Sox from 06 to 2013. He spent a little bit of time with the 13 Red Sox. I had not realized that, the connection, when I talked to him. Otherwise, I would have talked to him about being a part of the 13 Red Sox. Then he ended up with the Yankees and the Nationals and the Padres as well, but he was an all-star with the White Sox back in 2010. Finally, my partial conversation with Matt Thornton.
New Mariners, I believe, 04. Kind of at the tail end of when the team had been really good. Yeah. What was it like kind of being with the Mariners at that time in their history?
There's still that excitement that you thought you could be good, right? And I was just trying to be a piece of that when I came up and get my feet wet and learn as much as I could. But, having guys like Olerud and Ichiro, who obviously went on much longer being a absolute superstar, Brett Boone, Moyer, Freddie, all those guys, and watching them went about their business and did things, that was huge for me growing up, yeah.
What clicked for you when you get to Chicago in 06 and have a nice long run with the White Sox?
One thing that I had with Seattle is I worked hard and people and staff liked me, yeah, right, and they all wanted to help, and I think that affected me was I had so many voices trying to help me out, and they were all wonderful people trying to do the right thing, but I had too many voices in my head, right, and I had Pat Rice, Brian Price, Scott Butner, Rafael Chavez, all these guys were trying to help me, but I had 5 or 6 pitching coaches that were trying to help me, and when I went to Chicago, it was just one guy, and he just simplified things, and we just got out of my own head and kind of clicked for me.
Appreciated the transparency there, too, of Matt Thornton, reflecting on his time in Seattle. I thought it was interesting to hear him say, like, hey, I had so many voices there. Everybody wanted to help, but it's kind of hard, to pare down what you need to do when everybody's coming at you. I remember hearing something similar about a current Mariner, Jared Kelenic, saying, like, hey, I had too many voices in my head. I had too many voices in my head. So that was the content from my day in Cooperstown. I'm really glad that I went. I'm really glad I saw the event from a different vantage point. Again, it was great to be on the field as a, quote, player those 2 years that I did it, in bullpen catching and playing catch with guys. And I remember playing catch with Brady Anderson at this thing also. And those are stories that I will tell and continue to tell and name drop for life. But this was awesome, too, because it was a different way. My first time covering the event, my first time really interacting with the players on a media level, and I had a lot of fun. It is the Brady Farkas Show, brought to you by Fecto Homes on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. Peter in Williston, he had a lot to say about those interviews. He loved hearing Josh Reddick. He said, Pokey Reese, I'm a Reds fan. That was my guy. He thought it was hilarious that Brendan Ryan was traded at the Hall of Fame Classic as well. I hope you guys enjoyed that there. I wanted a chance to share what I did this weekend and why I was in Cooperstown this weekend. And look, I went out and I got the interviews. I wanted you to hear them, especially the Red Sox stuff. And I just thought that the Mariners stuff was generally just pretty good and interesting. I mean, it's not every day that I get to talk to a guy like Brendan Ryan who was part of a perfect game, who was playing shortstop in a perfect game. Not often I get to talk to a guy who played for a team that won 116 games, the most in regular season history. It's not often that happens. I wanted to share it with you. It is the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. We will get back to the Celtics, but there was a pretty big day of racing yesterday at Thunder Road as well. Our guy, Nick Mumley, our WDEV racing broadcaster, he was there for the Memorial Day Classic. He'll talk with us about everything from the nation's side of excitement. You wanted racing content. I've heard it. We're going to give it to you. Nick Mumley coming next.
Central Vermont Council on Aging for a creative aging celebration, Friday, June 2nd, from 2:30 to 7:30 p.m. at Vermont College of Fine Arts. This free community event held during Montpelier's Art Walk features an open gallery exhibit of creative work by older artists.
Excited about Game 7 tonight, or what you watched last night at Thunder Road?
Activities for everybody. Visit cvcoa.org for a full schedule and details. Central Vermont Council on Aging, cvcoa.org.
As Vermonters, we know that so much depends on the weather. When you need a reliable local weather forecast, it's literally at your fingertips with the WDEV weather phone. Locally dial 244-1172 or toll free at 1-800-585-1211. Roger Hill's weather forecast is just a phone call away on the WDEV weather phone, 244-1172 or 1-800-585-1211.
I found her. Who? My birth mom. Lost Nation Theater presents the world premiere of My Mother's Three Mothers by Erin Galligan Baldwin, May 25 through June 11. I want you to know, before you read any further, is that I have always loved you. A woman's search for her birth mother sends shockwaves of secrets, shame, choices, and consequences through generations. Just 5 more minutes, nurse, please. She's my baby. Not anymore. This gripping, topical new play is inspired by a true story.
What are you afraid of?
This just in. Unwed teenage mother gives baby away. It was her first time ever having sex. Or was it?
They were in the backseat of a car, Lassie.
The horrible mother, the one who gave her baby away, tells her husband that she's been keeping a secret from him for 50 years.
And boy, is he pissed. Everyone thinks she's a...
My Mother's Three Mothers, May 25 through June 11. LostNationTheater.org.
Local businesses advertise with WDEV because they get results. Glenn Meek of Stowe Insurance Group tells us why he advertises with WDEV.
We're heavily involved in the community like we like to be. We feel they're an excellent partner for our advertising dollars. The market penetration is second to none in Central Vermont. We've been with them for almost 40 years, and we hope to be with them for another 40 years.
Advertising with WDEV gets results. Inquire today at WDEV at radiovermont.com.
The Age of Reason took place over 200 years ago. It was a time of amazing scientific and philosophical progress all over the world. Truth, reason, and tolerance thrived, and even shaped the Constitution of the United States of America, the foundation of our democracy. But now those building blocks of America, of democracy, are under attack. In just 2 decades, big tech social media billionaires have allowed their platforms to roll back truth, facts, and tolerance, and fill the screens in our homes and in our pockets with lies and hate. Online disinformation and hate affect everything, everyone, everywhere. It splits us apart, hurts our children, polarizes our societies, and is literally leading to violence and terror in our communities. Lies and hate everywhere are a threat to all people, anywhere. Be a part of the change. Help defend the future of our democracy. Go to counterhate.com to learn more.
Of the day, text in at 802-585-3026.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Welcome back in, Brady Farkas Show right here on WDEV AM and FM, WDEVradio.com. Game 7 conversation coming. Celtics, I've got them winning 113-101 over the Heat, and I've got them making history. I think a lot of you do as well. The momentum is with Boston. Vegas says the Celtics are 7-point favorites. The Heat are scuffling big time. I think the Celtics are the better team. They're at home, and now they've got all the motivation and all the momentum. We're going to get to the Celtics again momentarily, but I want to go out to the phone line now and bring on our guy, Nick Mumley. He is our WDEV racing analyst and our Thunder Road broadcaster. A lot of races coming up on the Thursday night schedule this summer for us from the nation's side of excitement. He's also the founder and host of the Inside Groove podcast, which you can find on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and WDEVradio.com as well. Nick, appreciate you being with us. Are you more excited for Game 7 tonight with the C's or racing we saw yesterday at Thunder Road, huh?
All the stick and ball sports are second to me, you know that.
I know that for sure. And let's just kind of go division by division and talk about some of the things we're going to see upcoming this year at Thunder Road. This started off the chase towards King of the Road, so we've seen stuff at Thunder Road already this year, but this kind of feels like the real kickoff to the season.
Yeah, so now the way it works is on opening day at the beginning of May, the support divisions start their point counting season. Of course, the Flying Tigers, the Street Stocks, they get their points counting seasons underway at the beginning of the month on opening day. But Memorial Day Classic is the kickoff for the King of the Road chase for the late models. That's the big trophy. That's all the glory. That's the spot on the granite out front at the entrance of the track as you come into the year. So Memorial Day Classic is a big one for sure.
I know you're pumped. The new press box at Thunder Road.
Yeah, so they've got race control up there. They got a bunch of suites up there. The suites were packed yesterday. It's a great way for the track to bring in some more money and give businesses an opportunity to, take their employees out for something and to see a sporting event. It's top of the line for Vermont, and auto racing Thunder Road, that's the biggest spectator sport in the summertime in the state of Vermont. So it's a much needed upgrade, and they went above and beyond with it. I'm sure you've seen the pictures around on social media. They did a really nice job with it. It's great. Any other improvements for the general fan experience? Anything different for the everyday people like me? They're working on it. Things get better. They do little things throughout the year, every single year, and during the off season. They've worked in a new PA system and getting that all situated. There's been a few bumps in the road so far, but it's getting to the point where it's better. And there's always new things. I mean, last year they implemented the beer garden. They've got, and there's just a bunch of stuff that, they're trying to do. There's the backstretch. They've made it so you can tailgate on there now. You can park your car right up against the fence on the backstretch and, have a few beers, have a cookout, and watch the race from a unique experience. Nothing is huge and major as the tower, but Thunder Road is always looking for ways to improve fan experience. Late models yesterday, Nick Sweet gets the win out of Williamstown. A familiar name, Derek O'Donnell of New Hampshire, was second. Marcel Gravel of Wolcott was third. Your overall impression of the late model race? Well, whenever Nick Sweet shows up, he's kind of due for one win a season, usually one of these big crown jewel events. I was talking to Nick. They were there. He helps a couple of teams. He works on cars for other drivers and has his own business. That's what he does full time is help set up cars and build cars for other drivers. And he was over at White Mountain in New Hampshire on Saturday night. He told me they got home from that at about 11:30, and they decided, hey, let's go race Memorial Day tomorrow. The only problem was that their car was nowhere near ready. It didn't have an engine in it. So they pulled an all-nighter, did not go to sleep, worked through the night, pulled up to Thunder Road in the morning. They were fast in practice, fast in qualifying, and they win the race. I mean, just stuff that only Nick Sweet can do.
We're talking with Nick Mumley here, our Thunder Road racing analyst here at WDEV, and also the host and founder of the Inside Groove podcast. All your racing needs there. I know on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We'll get to some newcomer type stuff and who's moved up and who's moved down. We're always focused on that. But I'm interested here, the late models this year, some of the old guard seems to be making more of a return too. Phil Scott looks like he might run a little more regularly. And well, he did. I don't know if he ran yesterday, admittedly, but I know that Gene Paul Sear is going to run at Thunder Road this summer, and he was in the event earlier in May, I know.
Yep. So Phil is back for another full season of racing weekly at Thunder Road on Thursday nights. They had a new car newly designed car yesterday. It looked good, and Phil was happy to be back at the track. I know that's kind of his escape because, as we all know, that job that he has is kind of important, kind of stressful. Yeah. So, he gets one night a week where he can go out and kind of play, and he's just Phil there. He doesn't want you to refer to him as the governor there. You go up to him, it's Phil. And that's how it's always been. And I know he loves racing at Thunder Road and still get it done. Gene Paul Sear, another guy you talked about, he actually ran Saturday at White Mountain. Put the 48 car into the top 10. I mean, Robbie Crouch and Ashley Jane Squire, the car owners of that thing. It's funny, I went into their trailer to give them a couple of my decals on Saturday night, and they're introducing them. So Ashley's introducing themselves. She's like, hi, I'm Ashley. This is Robbie Crouch. This is Gene Paul Sear. I'm like, guys, I know who you are. Don't worry. You guys are only like all legends here. And so, yeah, but I know Gene's super pumped to be back in the car as well.
Flying Tigers yesterday, Jason Pelkey of Barry gets the win, Sam Caron of Milton second, Mike Bilodeau of Grand Isle third. All familiar names, all at the top.
Yeah, Flying Tigers, pretty interesting this year. A lot of the guys a lot of the young guns and some of the old guard that has won championships there in the past. I mean, you look at, 3 years ago, you had the Woodards, Brian Wall, Stephen Martin, Mike Martin, Justin Prescott, Caden Fisher in that division. They're all moved on. Mike Martin stepping away to help his son Steven's late model program. Justin Prescott, Caden Fisher now in the late models, and Tanner Woodard and Brian Wall now racing late models as well. So some might look at this as a glass half empty year for the Flying Tigers, where a lot of the old guard, the guys that have won in the past, are kind of moved on to different things. But I look at it as a glass half full kind of year, where there's a lot of opportunity for guys like Kyle Streeter, Jason Pelkey, Brandon Gray, and the defending champion Sam Caron to kind of become that next leadership group, if you will, of the Flying Tigers. There's going to be some stars made in that series this year.
It was a couple of years ago, I think we were talking about, I think it was Caden Fisher, like 14 years old, kind of coming on the scene. They don't have to be that young, but any newcomers at the track or any people that, we should be looking for to kind of make their first big waves this year?
Well, I can't remember who did. I think it was, I don't remember. Somebody did a feature this past week about two of the young stars that are, and truly stars that are coming up through the ranks right now. And oddly enough, as of Saturday, they've both raced late models at this point. Caden Fisher, the big one, he's been on the scene for a couple of years now. Everybody knows about him at this point, but he's still, I think, 16. So he finished top 10 yesterday in the late models. He's got a really good career ahead of him. And Taylor Hoare, the daughter of 8-time ACT champion Brian Hoare, another one. She races street stocks. This is her third year in the street stocks at Thunder Road. Got her first win last year towards the end of the year. And on Saturday at White Mountain, she was driving the late model and got top 15 with that. So a lot of star power in the youth ranks for Thunder Road, and they're starting to finally break their way through to the top right now.
Here we are 3 years in. I'm getting the handle of a lot of what happens at Thunder Road. I got to tell you, though, I'm not too familiar with the Monaco Modified Tri-Track Series. So what is this? And Ronnie Williams of Ellington, Connecticut won yesterday. This is a lot of non-Vermont drivers in this. What exactly was it?
So the Modifieds the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Series, their tour, is the oldest NASCAR series in existence, right? These cars are not anywhere. They're open wheel stock car kind of things. They're not like an F1 or an Indy car, but they're also not like a NASCAR. I mean, they've got open wheels, rub rails. These things put down plenty of horsepower. They're called the ground pounders as a nickname because they literally make the ground shake underneath your feet. I mean, these guys were getting around Thunder Road in 11.2 seconds, I think, were the top times yesterday. Super quick, super fun cars to watch, very visually appealing. And they bring, and the Tri-Track series is kind of kind of like an off series away from the NASCAR series. They run mostly down south, but this is their second year now coming up to Thunder Road. They've put on a great show now 2 years in a row. Yeah, Ronnie Williams getting the win. He's a Stafford guy down in Connecticut, races down there a lot. A lot of stars coming up. I mean, we have Woody Pitkat, Doug Coby, Ron Silk, who just won the prestigious Spring Sizzler at Stafford. Ron won, I think, over $35,000 just in that weekend a couple weeks ago at Stafford. So some big-time star power for New England racing. Modifieds are huge down south. And they're starting to work their way up here north in northern New England.
In addition to the general Thunder Road schedule, of which we're going to have a lot of races here on DEV, also very, very excited about what is the SRX series, this kind of ESPN product in which several prominent racers we've heard of from various different series kind of go around the country. And there's going to be one Thursday night where that's broadcast on ESPN at Thunder Road. A lot of big names are coming there. So another kind of cool wrinkle for the schedule this year.
Yeah, absolutely. SRX is a huge get for Thunder Road. We've seen it down in Connecticut at Stafford the last couple of seasons. And it has taken Stafford from a locally recognized facility in the New England and northeastern United States area to a nationally known facility. I mean, SRX broadcasts coast to coast on ESPN. They've been on CBS the last couple of years. It's a big-time series. It's co-owned by Tony Stewart, who's a three-time NASCAR champion, and Ray Evernham, who was the crew chief for Jeff Gordon for many years, and then went on to own his own cars for Casey Kane and Jeremy Mayfield, Elliott Sadler, and others. And, you know, they have brought local short track racing to a national stage. And all these short tracks that go on SRX, that have SRX races, they're nationally televised. Everybody knows about them. Can expect that same kind of stuff for Thunder Road. I mean, it's a sleeping giant right now because come June or July 20th, this play and everybody is going to know about Thunder Road.
Very, very cool. Nick Mumley, the Inside Groove podcast, also here on WDEV. Quite a bit through the course of the year. We'll have a bunch of Thunder Road races. Last year you did the Behind the Visor podcast. Is that back for season 2?
No Behind the Visor podcast this year. It went well last year, but we had Marcel Gravel is one of our co-hosts. He's ultra focused on trying to win King of the Road this year. Taylor Hoare, like we talked about, she was a lot of fun to have on the show last year, but now she's running the street stock and the late model, and trying to get her career under her feet and focus on that. Cam Willett, one of our other co-hosts, had a baby, so he's a little bit busy right now being a new dad. So it might come back late at some point in the coming years, but for this year at least, we decided everybody's a little bit busy to be focusing on a podcast when there's races and championships to win and kids to take care of.
Nick, we appreciate you. We'll hear you plenty both on this show, both on the news services here on the EV, and ultimately on our live racing broadcast. So until then, we'll catch up down the road. Absolutely. Nick Mumley, our WDEV racing analyst and broadcaster, does a great job and really has helped me learn a lot about the format of Thunder Road, because look, racing is not something that comes easily to me. It's not something that comes natural to me. It's something that's important for me to know, because I know that it's important to the legacy and history of this station. It's important to our listeners out there. So it's important that I get up to speed, and Nick has helped me do just that. So we appreciate him. Look forward to hearing him both with Lee Cattell and Greg Titus on a lot of calls of races this year. Jazz with George Thomas is coming up in about 10 minutes. It's on from 7 o'clock until 9 o'clock. Then Eye on the World with John Batchel. The Red Sox are off today, and they're back east this week as well. So those of you who are happy now to have the normal start times and not have to stay up late, well, you'll be very, very happy. We'll come back with final thoughts on the Celtics. They get ready to pull off history tonight against the Miami Heat. We'll have it for you next on DEV.
Are you looking to get rid of your used mobile home? Here at Pecto Homes, we don't just sell new mobile homes, we also buy used. If you have a used mobile home that you are looking to sell, we can either accept it as trade and apply the value to a new home with us or purchase it outright. We offer fair prices and quick removal of your mobile home. So reach out to us for a quote today. Pecto Homes, 350 River Street, Montpelier, or visit us at pectohomes.com for more information.
I can't wait for what's next. Even with higher stroke risk due to atrial fibrillation, irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Eliquis, the Bixaban tablets, reduces stroke risk. It's the #1 cardiologist prescribed blood thinner.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without talking to your doctor, as this may increase your risk of stroke. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or have antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or unusual bruising, or if you have tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. It may increase your bleeding risk if you take medicines such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel you attract people who tend to be compulsive or abusive?
Do you have money problems because of someone else's drinking?
Are you afraid or embarrassed to bring your friends home?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
More than half of all adults have a family history of alcoholism.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too. Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
New England Municipal Resource Center. Member, a company that recognizes the value of Vermont in all things local, municipalities, businesses, and WDEV.
Do you want to learn more about the free market perspective on important public policy issues affecting you, your work, and your community? I'm Bill Sayre, and I hope you'll do so by joining me in conversation with Vermont opinion leaders as we discuss how best to make Vermont an ever better and more affordable place to live and work. Common Sense Radio with Bill Sayre, weekdays 11 till noon.
The Brady Farkas Show now has an interactive text line, so reach out now at 802-585-3026.
Now it's back with the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Welcome back in, Brady Farkas Show, WDEV AM and FM, WDEVradio.com, brought to you by Pecto Homes. We are just an hour and 37, carry the one, hour and 37 minutes away from Game 7. The best words in sports, Game 7. A trip to the NBA Finals is on the line. The Boston Celtics, the Miami Heat. Here's what you need to know. Vegas has the Celtics as 7-point favorites. The Action Network reported an hour ago or so that 81% of the public money is on the Miami Heat. So people think that the Heat will not choke. A lot of people are taking the Heat to win it outright. Some people are just taking the Heat to cover the spread. But I just think I think I got distracted there by a text that just came in. My mistake. Anyways, a lot of people think the Heat are going to pull this out. I don't. Miami does not have any momentum. And where has Jimmy Butler gone? He has not been terrible in this series, but he's got, I think, 22 points a game the last three. He had, 11 or 16 or whatever in games 4 and 5. He has not been the Jimmy buckets that he was in games 1 and 2. He guaranteed a series victory, and right now his back is against the wall. The pressure is on Miami. I know the Celtics are the favorite. I totally get that. That said, the pressure is on Miami. They're the team up against history. They're the team trying to be the first team, or trying not to be the first team to blow a 3-0 series lead. NBA teams are 150 and 0. 150 and 0 when having a 3-0 series lead, and the Heat are trying to avoid being the first team to blow that. They're trying to avoid being the team that makes it 1 and 150. They're not going to. It is going to be 1 and 150 today. Tatum's going to play well. Brown's going to play well. Williams is going to play well. The Celtics are going to win this game, and we're going to get to come in tomorrow, and we're going to get to talk about we're going to get to talk about an NBA Finals matchup beginning later this week against the Denver Nuggets. That's what we want. That's what we've been craving. That's what this team had deserved for a long time, and they're going to get it, and they're going to get it tonight. The Boston Celtics are going to win this game, okay? They're going to win this game. There is no doubt in my mind. I have been wrong on this team a lot. Tonight, I'm not going to be wrong. Tonight, I am not going to be wrong. The Celtics are going to win it. Texter says it's going to be pretty cool stuff seeing the Celtics make NBA history tonight. Great show today, Brady. Thank you very much. It is going to be cool to see the Celtics make NBA history today. Just like it was cool in 2004 with the Red Sox, it's going to be cool with the Celtics. The vibes are incredible right now. I'm looking at Twitter. Jason Tatum walks into the building in the Anything is Possible Kevin Garnett shirt. How can you not be romantic about sports? People that don't watch sports. How do you do it? How can you not be romantic about sports? Jason Tatum's rocking the Anything is Possible shirt in the same vein that was said by Kevin Garnett a bunch of years ago. This is the time. History is going to happen. And it's going to benefit us. And that makes it even sweeter. Jazz with George Thomas is coming up next. Thanks to Nick Mumley for stopping by a little while ago. Thanks to all the ball players at the Hall of Fame Classic who gave me some time. Those interviews will all be available on our podcast channel here shortly. Tomorrow, we're back on the short show saddle. We'll have 40 minutes. We're going to talk with Ben Steiner tomorrow of the Fast Break Group, which is part of Sports Illustrated. So he's going to be with us at 5:45. It's going to be 40 minutes, and I think we're going to be celebrating the C's getting back to the title, getting back to the title series. That's what I hope. That's what I believe. 113 to 101. That's my final score prediction tonight. Celtics over the Heat. Tatum, great. Brown, great. Team, unstoppable. Happy Memorial Day, everybody.
Isn't wearing their seatbelt. Make it a ticket. A driver